companies, because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7969.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from downtown Baton Rouge. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from our studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. It means we're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Got Jacob back and Cassidy Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. About half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got a lot to do here as we do most Wednesdays. It's What If Wednesday. In 15 minutes, we'll get to those in the Bayou Ford chat. Also had a couple of those fly through on Twitter, so we'll get to them. JD Pickell from On3 Sports at 1:30 talking the national college football landscape. Excited at 2 o'clock. We'll chat with Brad Hawpe, former Tiger national champion, 9-year big leaguer and all-star, who also is now a proud dad as his son committed to LSU back on Monday. So we'll talk to Brad about that process, maybe go down memory lane a little bit with his run with the 2000 Tigers as well. So we'll have Brad Hawpe 1 hour from right now. And then my latest edition of SEC Power Rankings coming up at 2:30. Got those right in front of me here, and there's some significant movers. Got one up 5, one back 6, another one back 5. It's volatile here as we sit here in the middle of September. So we'll get to that an hour and a half from right now. I got to talk Saints as well. Not a lot of preview discussion for LSU and Southeastern, but we got some news today, and we'll start there with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Brian Kelly was with the media for 10 minutes on the SEC's teleconference this morning at 10 o'clock our time, and Wilson Alexander of The Advocate came on about halfway through Kelly's period and said, hey, there's some thought that you might rest Garrett this weekend because of that torso injury. Has that crossed your mind for Saturday? And Brian Kelly said, quote, I think he needs to play. Garrett wants to play. He's capable of playing. As I said, the torso injury slowed him up, and it slowed up in some instances with the development of the offense too, because we need to be very careful with him. We knew we had two very difficult games coming up with Clemson on the road and a charged up Florida team, so we dialed him back in practice, dialed him back into what we're going to do to make sure that we protected him. He's now on the other side of it, and because we were able to protect him, so this week we'll be able to have an opportunity that he can play. He's doing some things at practice he hasn't been able to do in the last month, so we're pretty excited about what he can do this weekend. So there's your answer. He's going to play. You heard my thoughts on this on Monday. When Brian Kelly used the words, shut it down for the bye week, which means after Southeastern, after Ole Miss, that to me meant he needed to take time off. And the inference that I made based on that suggestion was that he could not do that this week, and I rejected that. And I still do. If you feel like he needs time off. And I don't know how Garrett feels day to day. I don't know how compromised he is throwing a football. It stands to reason, based on all the things that we've laid out the last 2 days, he's compromised in some way. But it sounds like, based on what Brian Kelly is saying, and trust me, I'm not holding Brian Kelly under oath here. I don't care if he's telling the truth or not. But all I have is to go on what he says, and that's all I can react to. I'm fully aware that what I'm telling you may not really apply to what Garrett's dealing with because I just don't know. But I can react to what I hear. And Brian Kelly says he's getting better. He's able to do things on Tuesday that he couldn't do a month ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. And it's just going to take time, whether he plays against Southeastern or not, for him to heal up a little bit, and he's progressing week to week. And if that's the case, okay, I'd still sit him, but put him out there, get into some rhythm, let him handle some of the new wrinkles you're putting into the running game potentially, get some reps in practice. That's not going to hurt your offensive continuity if he's out there getting some reps in practice. And then, again, like I said on Monday, my sincere hope is that Garrett Nussmeier is not playing in the second half of this game. You need the defense to pitch a shutout, make sure they don't have any. Southeastern has no points at halftime. Hopefully by that point, your offense has 24, 28, 31 points, and then you can shut it down and go to Michael Van Buren. That's really all I have to say about Garrett Nussmeier this week. Based on what we're hearing from Brian Kelly, he's dealing with a little bit of an issue. It is getting better. He's getting treatment. He's going to play. Okay, if that's what you're telling me, I hope that's quick. He gets some practice reps. He gets to sit out the second half, and you move forward to Ole Miss. That's really the end of the discussion with Garrett Nussmeier. It's not a should he play or shouldn't he play. He's playing, so let's hope he gets out more quickly. Now, there's another layer to this discussion, though, and it is, well, what about Michael Van Buren? Now, let me be very clear about this, because I've gotten some of this on Twitter. It's like, well, if you can't beat Southeastern without Garrett Nussmeier, then you're in some trouble. Wait a second. Stop that conversation right now. Southeastern has lost its last 2 D1 games to Tulane and Mississippi State, which aren't exactly top 5 teams in the nation, 100-7. Once again, there is no scenario that LSU could go out there and play Southeastern and lose. None. Not one. They could turn it over 5 times on Saturday. They'd still win the game. It is not a fair fight between future NFL players, former 5-star recruits who are elite-level talents, and FCS players. It's not even a comparison. They didn't score on Tech in the opener. So it has nothing to do with whether or not you can win the game with Michael Van Buren. That's not even a discussion. The discussion is, should Michael Van Buren get some reps, and is that meaningful to this LSU football team? I would suggest absolutely yes. It's important that Michael Van Buren get out there and play a little bit in this game. He has not played in a football game since Thanksgiving weekend of last year. He was a true freshman out there with an overmatched team that went winless in the league, that relied on him to kind of do everything on offense because they didn't have any personnel. And there were days where he was pretty productive, but there were also times where it was a mess. And what we saw of Michael Van Buren in the spring and certainly in fall camp was a little bit of a mess. And again, he was playing a lot against this defense, okay? This defense is really good. So I'm not suggesting that LSU is toast should Garrett Nussmeier need to miss a little bit of time. We'll get to a discussion about if he misses a lot of time, if that ever happens. But I do think if Garrett Nussmeier tweaks an ankle, or like the Oklahoma game last year, he's got to go to the locker room to get something checked out, and then he comes back in. But you miss a little bit of time. He misses a game with Arkansas. He misses a game with South Carolina. If there's a time where you need your backup quarterback to play, which is never a comfortable conversation to have, but it does crop up a lot. I would like it if Michael Van Buren is not going out there to run this offense for the first time. And I would like it if his action on Saturday wasn't just going out there with 6 minutes to go in the game and handing off to Harlem Berry. I'd like him to get out there and run the offense a little bit, because he does have some talent and he can run around a little bit, and he needs reps because he was inaccurate in the fall and turned the ball over a little bit in the fall. So this is a glorified scrimmage on Saturday. This is not a game where you're going to hear me on the post-game show on the network or come in here Monday and suggest that LSU has anything at all fixed on offense. You cannot judge that based on playing an FCS team like Southeastern. But the backup quarterback can get some reps, and I think it's important for him to get some reps. I haven't completely ruled out whether or not he could be used in some short yardage or goal line packages as a dual threat quarterback that can do some read option things that can help LSU in a situation right now where they're not great. They're not great on short yardage right now. I've heard Brian Kelly, Tyree Adams, and yesterday Jawan Johnson talk about short yardage stuff that they're working on because they know they're not very good on 3rd and 1. They missed a couple of them on Saturday. Is there a scenario where getting a more athletic quarterback, whether it's Michael Van Buren or just Jawan Johnson in the game, allows you some numbers advantages and some more variability into what you can do to run the ball and pick up some short yardage things. I'm not suggesting a dual quarterback system to take Garrett Nussmeier out on 30% of the snaps. I'm talking about for this play, for these 2 snaps, for this situation, 2nd and goal from the 2. And so I would rather Michael Van Buren go out there in a 35-0 game and get his feet wet in purple and gold with a center that he might be working with some running backs he might be working with some wide receivers he might be working with some tight ends he certainly will be working with because Tradez is out. I'd like him to do that. And I think it's important that he does. I would like it to be the entire game, but that's not going to happen. So the next logical point in the conversation is, okay, how much and what do you need? And I sincerely hope that on Saturday, Michael Van Buren doesn't just go out there to hand the ball off for the last 6 minutes because LSU's offense sputtered again and you just won the game 28-3, and that would be a great disappointment on Saturday. So I think what we saw from Michael Van Buren showed he's a little bit rusty, showed he needs a lot of development. Here's an opportunity to kick off some rust and get some development. Again, to just absolutely pummel this horse that is long dead. I'd like him to get all the snaps in practice this week. That's not going to happen. So that is something that there's very few things that I'm looking forward to in this game on Saturday night. I was on with our friends over in 337 on ESPN Lafayette Lake Charles today, and they asked me what I thought about the matchup with Southeastern, and I said, guys, I'm not going to just try to make something up. I don't know anything about Southeastern's team other than they didn't score against Tech, and I think they beat Mississippi Valley State 55-10 last week. I can't name one player. Don't know what their offense looks like. Don't know what their defense looks like. I don't know anything about them. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time this week diving into the film and the stats on the Lions. This is about LSU getting a week of practice, getting on the field, the band coming down Victory Hill and playing the pregame song, and everybody getting to tailgate, going in there, you get the game over with. Hopefully everybody stays healthy, and you move on to Ole Miss. There's not a lot of on the field you can draw from this game. It's the same thing as Nichols last year, same thing as Grambling the year before that, same thing as Southern the year before that. It's an FCS team. It's going to get ugly. But there are some things that are of value that aren't fixes for Ole Miss. They're getting some guys some development. And I think if Karis Curran gets some snaps, and certainly Michael Van Buren gets some snaps, and you get some young guys some reps on the defensive side, that is important stuff that doesn't deal with LSU's first 22. I'd love to see Michael Van Buren run LSU's offense and look smooth and comfortable doing it on Saturday night. So that's a glimpse at your quarterback situation for LSU moving into the weekend. It's our Genesis opening drive. Our Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. When we come back, let's sweat up Wednesday. The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. America's best warranty is what they promise you at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Talking about 10 years, 100,000 miles in that powertrain warranty. Bumper to bumper for 5 years, 60,000 miles. That is industry best. Go in and ask them about this warranty. They are thrilled to tell you about it. You've got an enhanced 24/7 roadside assistance for 5 years. That's with unlimited miles. You don't want to get stranded on the side of the road. If you've got a new Genesis, you can just make a phone call. They will come help you with that. All of your complimentary scheduled maintenance, 3 years, 36,000 miles. You don't pay for it, and you don't even have to go in for it. They pick it up and bring it right to you. Those are all the perks, and that's all wonderful. But you also want to know that you're driving a safe car and a stylish, smooth, comfortable car with all the features that you're looking for, and I can promise you Genesis will offer that. It's a luxury brand at a reasonable price. Go by and see them. Airline at PQ. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Join us for Friday's AFR live from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. We'll have craft cocktails, someone's winning tickets to the game, and of course a fine premium cigar. Friday's AFR, presented by Sagamore Spirit.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
There's absolutely still time to jump in the pool in South Louisiana. There is plenty of time to do that, relatively speaking, in terms of the rest of the country. But summer is in the rearview mirror at this point. We are fully into fall with school and football, so the bulk of the summer is gone. And if you took this summer and thought, man, I really wish we had the pool, it's time to make that happen for next summer. There's always another one coming. So contact my guy, Joey Blanchard, Renaissance Homes and Pools, and get that customized pool of your dreams installed before next summer. I'll give you Joey's cell. It's 225-252-7745. Again, 252-7745. Joey's with you start to finish on this project. It's an important deal, right? It's your backyard area. It's where you're going to spend a lot of time, do a lot of entertaining. You want it to be done right, and Joey will do that for you. He'll sit down for that consultation. He'll be with you through the entire design process. He'll be with you when they dig that pool, be with you when they fill that pool, when they finish that pool. Want that outdoor kitchen done? Joey can handle that as well. It's 252-7745. It's Joey Blanchard in Renaissance Homes and Pools. You can also reach out, leave your contact information online at builtbyrenaissance.com, and they are happy to get to you that way as well. Builtbyrenaissance.com. All right, love JD Pickell talking national college football storylines coming up in about 15 minutes. But right now, it's What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
All right, first one here. What if Emory Jones had returned to play his last year at LSU?
Well, obviously it helps. I mean, you're talking about a guy there that's a high-round pick of a really good organization in Baltimore who generally does things the right way. I am going to lean more on Pro Football Focus than my eye here, candidly. Just putting the cards on the table. I don't evaluate offensive line play for a living. Weston Davis has struggled in terms of his grades through 3 games. He's got elite ability in terms of his measurables and the way he moves. Like he's 6'6", 6'7". He's light on his feet. He played high school basketball as a 5-star recruit. He looks the part, but his numbers and scores on Pro Football Focus are not very good. So you take a step up at right tackle there. I would take him back in a hurry. I would probably suggest I'd take a guard before I took a tackle at this point. But it would be a good thing if LSU had Emory Jones. But the good news for LSU is if you had Emory Jones for these last 3 games, you would be 3-0, which is a good spot to be in.
All right, next one. What if you had to cut out appetizers or dessert?
That's really easy.
Yeah, it is.
Really easy. I'm cutting out desserts.
What?
Easy money.
No way.
I want appetizers.
Wait, Cassie's looking over here like she would also do that.
Generally,
you wouldn't cut out desserts?
What do you like?
It'd be
Appetizer?
so much healthier.
Okay. We're not talking about healthy right now.
Yeah, but that's just the better option.
No, the thing about appetizers is there's not that much different to me. I mean, there are sometimes things that are different for appetizers as opposed to just an entree. But an appetizer versus dessert, it's totally different. You can't dessert is a whole different.
Yes,
it's a whole different course of the meal.
However, I'm ready to start eating when I sit down, and that gets it there quicker.
Okay.
And here's what I usually do. I'm not suggesting that everyone needs to follow my lead here. This is just what I'm going to do.
Of course.
If we're at a restaurant, especially if it's like a fine dining restaurant, and it's time for desserts, I just want another scotch.
Okay.
Like I will have that while y'all are all eating your whatever you're eating. Like I love cheesecake, and I'll eat some creme brulee, and if you got some kind of chocolate cake, I'll try that as well. But if you're giving me the choice, I'm just gonna have another cocktail.
I can't get rid of dessert, man. There's just too many. It's just such a different course of food as opposed to an appetizer and entree.
If you're sitting down at your casual dining joint and they just give you that spinach dip to go to work on, or like chips and queso or whatever that you can just immediately get to,
it's nice.
I'm so in on that.
I get it.
You don't have to wait for the entree to come. And then again, like if I've eaten a great entree and a full one, like do I really need to get down on the more food, or I just want another cocktail? That's probably what I want.
It's understandable, but I gotta
dessert's
stay with
good.
Dessert.
And this is not really dessert, but it's just something. When I was like hardcore dieting for that like 6 weeks there, I went and bought some Reese's like peanut butter cup deals, like just the individual cups, and I would eat that after dinner, and it was like the highlight of my eating day. Like I love a good like chocolate peanut butter type deal, but like if I've got to cut out one, we're gonna cut dessert out.
All right, next one. This seems like more of a when, not if. What if? But what if the Florida job comes open?
That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Look, I think that the people in Gainesville will call Lane Kiffin. I think that.
Well, I'm sure they will call him.
I don't think he will take that job. And trust me, I've disagreed with a lot of people over time about what the best job is. And all that kind of stuff has changed so much in the last 10 years. I don't know that Florida is ready to go in an NIL and get their collective together and spend a bunch of money. This is more of an educated guess than a statement of fact. But it feels like that fan base is kind of wishy-washy and not as like hardcore. A lot of people that live in the state of Florida aren't from the state of Florida. And I realize it's a big school, but I feel like you got a lot of sidewalk fans that don't have a lot of money. And you need some dyed-in-the-wool money people to get it together and make that happen. I don't know that's happened. They were last to the game in terms of the indoor facility. They were way behind in NIL. And like, I don't know that they have this thought of we should be Spurrier, we should be Urban Meyer. And in my head, like they should be that too, because they're an SEC school in a ridiculously talent-rich area that has had amazing success in the last 30 years. But am I sure they're as aligned as Ole Miss is right now, that getting money together and getting it in these kids' pockets? I'm not, so I don't know. I'm not 100% sure that Florida's a better job than Ole Miss.
Well, and not only that, but I'm wondering what Lane Kiffin's ambitions are at this point, because I think he knows. I think he knows for sure that he can stay at Ole Miss for the rest of his life and win 9 or 10 games every year, and they'll build a statue for him.
Yeah.
If he goes to Florida and struggles for a couple of years,
he goes 9-3 twice. They're tapping their foot.
He's in trouble, and I mean, he already saw this when he had the job at Tennessee. When you go to a school like that, you don't have much time, and he's at Ole Miss. He's done well, and they have shown that they will pony up some money for NIL, and I think he likes that. And so I'd be surprised as well that he would go for that.
So beyond Kiffin, like, who's next? Like, there's no shot in the world of worlds that Dan Lanning is taking that phone call for anybody who goes, well, call Dan Lanning. No shot. He's got
more.
Phil Knight in his pocket.
Yeah.
Like, no shot. And so you start to think about some other names. And, do they call Blake Baker?
Yeah.
I feel like, based on how I think the next 8 weeks are going to go, Blake Baker's name's going to start popping up.
Yeah, I just wonder if he's at the point where he will get that type of job offer. Maybe it's like a Baylor, with Dave Aranda.
Here's maybe a more plausible situation. What if Florida calls John Summerall?
Yeah.
At Tulane, and then Tulane comes open, and Baker went to Tulane, and then he goes to Tulane.
I could easily see that happening for sure. John Summerall is a guy that a lot of people mention with a potential getting a job at Power 5. So that would be those. I think those names would be pretty high on the list.
This is just a random thought that just popped in my mind. How would Eli Drinkwitz do at Florida?
I don't know, man. I think he's got the. I don't know. I think he's got the charisma, but I just don't know that he would fit there. I don't know. I think Missouri is perfect for Eli Drinkwitz. I think that is a perfect marriage of coach in school. I think again, he's a guy like Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss that he could stay at Missouri for the rest of his career, win 8 or 9 games almost every year, maybe have a 7 win every now and then, pop up for a 10, and they'll love him and he'll be revered as one of their best coaches. Yeah. All right, next one. What if UCLA hires Coach O?
That just wouldn't work.
There's no way they'll do it, especially, do you really think they would be able to look past
they need a shot of life.
They do.
Like, you thought Chip Kelly was going to do that, and I guess in hindsight he did give him a little bit of a shot of life. They were decent until he left to go call plays at Ohio State. It just wouldn't work because I don't believe that Ed Orgeron's greatest strength, which is recruiting, I don't believe he could do it there. You got enough humans that are good at football in the area, but you have a fan base that cares less than maybe any fan base in the Power 5. Like, I can't think of a school off the top of my head that cares less about football than UCLA.
No.
Look at their stadium. It's off campus. It's in Cal. Like, nobody cares over there. What boosters is he going to get to spend a bunch of money on players? And, like, then can you recruit into an empty Rose Bowl? And that's what, it's empty right now. He needs a place that's different than that. I think he will coach again. Whether or not it's a head coaching job, I don't know. But UCLA would not work. No.
Yeah, I don't think it would work either. It'd be funny and interesting to watch, and I think more people would be interested in it. Kind of like
they would get ESPN out there for the press conference. Yeah. I can promise you that.
Absolutely. All right, last one here. What if Tyler Shuck doesn't start a game this year?
If he doesn't start a game this year, that probably means that Spencer Rattler's played pretty good football.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting based on wins and losses and Rattler's performance, how they handle the quarterback spot.
What I was
like, if he plays just like he has for the last 2 weeks, and they're all of a sudden 1-7, and he hasn't been that bad, and he's not really turning it over, and he's not missing guys, and they're coming up a few plays short here or there, he hadn't warranted just being benched, other than that the team's not winning,
right? Because
the team doesn't have any good players. But you would like to get him out there to see what it looks like.
I agree. I think even that's going to be the interesting,
So I guess the answer to that is, if he doesn't start a game, then Rattler's played good.
Yeah. And I would say for me at least, even if he has played pretty well and they're still losing games, I still say, even if Rattler has looked pretty good, I still think you got to get Shuck in for at least a couple of games. Just you have to. Because so far, at least from training camp, there wasn't that much separating them. So I would be surprised if Shuck doesn't start at least a few.
You could say, and I will listen to that rebuttal, tell him to get over it. But if he's playing decent and you say, hey, sit down, we took this guy in the second round, I got to see him for 2 weeks. What if he said, well, screw you, let me play. You took me in the draft, and I'm trying to develop too. I will hear the logical fan that says, well, tell Rattler to get over it and just keep practicing. But there is something to the fact well, I got to develop too, and you're telling me to just quit developing for 2 weeks? It's an interesting spot when you're searching for your quarterback.
Yeah. All right. Actually, I got one more here.
Okay.
What if the Shark Dogs get relegated?
I'm not sure. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah,
we're at the lowest league. There isn't a 3-year-old league.
I was gonna say I don't think they go any lower.
We got all 3-year-olds. We got 3 and 4-year-old league.
Yeah.
You can't send us to the 2-year-old league. They can barely walk. So we would dominate the 2-year-old league.
Definitely would.
But there's nowhere else to go.
I wonder if there's going to be some trade rumors flying around with Myers. He's obviously a very talented player. A 4-year-old team could probably use him.
He dribbled it straight out of bounds like 5 times last week. So,
that's impressive, actually.
Well,
it is.
Some
for a 3-year-old.
But yeah, I don't think there's anywhere to relegate him. You just got to leave him right there. We're as low as we can go. What's the lowest league in Mexico in European soccer?
Well, there's a lot of like smaller countries that have leagues, but like specifically in England, the Premier League, they have lower division. They go divisions down, and then there's like local leagues where it's only teams in certain regions and stuff. So it would probably be like they'd be playing like against it's like the semi-pro team. So that's what they would be.
These are definitely semi-pro. They get paid in gummy worms.
They're getting paid though.
They do. We were talking on Saturday. We lead the league in a couple of important statistics. We lead the league in gummy worms,
probably on goals,
and we possibly, and we lead the league in tiers. And those two, they count for something. You gotta keep those stats.
Yeah.
All right, JD Pickell next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Jonathan Carver and his team, happy to help you when it comes to captives. If you're a business that feels like you're just getting gouged on insurance prices, you feel like you take care of your risks, your loss history is good, and those premiums just keep rising and it's tough to keep up. Have you explored a captive? Has your broker brought that to your attention? Have you looked at it? If you haven't, call the Highland Insurance Group. Say, hey, I heard Hunt talking about captives. I've heard of it. I don't really know what the deal is. Like, can y'all help? They're happy to look into it. You have to fit. Your loss history has to be good enough. You have to be sizable enough, and there's some barriers that you have to cross to get into a captive. But if you can get in, it can be a game changer for you. And not every broker, as I mentioned, has access to a captive program. So if you're a business, feel like you've got good loss history and want to see if you can make a big change to your bottom line in terms of your insurance and just do something different, call the Highland Insurance Group and get involved in looking towards a captive. It's the Highland Insurance Group right here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. HighlandIG.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
In 25 minutes, we will talk to former Tiger, national champion, big leaguer, and all-star Brad Hawpe. Brad, proud dad as his son committed to LSU back over the weekend. Drake will be a big power-hitting left-handed bat in Jay Johnson's lineup here in a couple of years. So we'll talk to Brad in 25 minutes. SEC football power rankings coming your way in 1 hour. Right now, it's time to talk to our guy, J.D. Pickell from On3, host of The Hard Count, talk national college football stories. So let's do it as he joins us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. J.D., how we feeling?
Feeling spoiled, man. Feeling very spoiled. Doing well, though. How about yourself?
We're good. We're 3-0 around here, which is a good thing. Hadn't happened in quite some time, so we're reveling in a little bit of that, even though this weekend is not bringing a lot of juice with Southeastern Louisiana on the schedule. 4-0, not a bad thing either, and that'll be what we're talking about next week. Let's talk about some national storylines here. Let's start with one that ties a little bit locally and Clemson. They lose to Georgia Tech. Dabo's talking in the press. First of all, what does that mean for LSU? And second of all, like, what are we talking about with the state of this Clemson program?
What it means for LSU to me is still what it means when they got that win. I understand the idea of, well, that win when you got it meant this, but now that they've lost Georgia Tech, it meant that. Like, I don't think anybody was wrong in saying Clemson's a really freaking talented football team. And when they're at home to open the season, mentally they're in a different place than when they go on the road at a noon kick and play Georgia Tech. So I think the win for LSU should still have all the shine on it in the world. What I think about Clemson right now, though, is I'm worried about what I just said. Like, upstairs, Hunt, they just look like a different attitude kind of football team than what I thought we'd get. And what I mean by that is, like, the sell for me on Clemson preseason was that front seven is going to be awesome. They've all played together for a long time. They're going to be out with a chip on their shoulder and something to prove. And, like, I see a team that almost looks a little bit like they, like, are entitled to win in a sense. And that's not me saying I know what's going on at Clemson or that I know what's going on in the inner workings, but, like, it's very jarring to see the lack of aggression from this Clemson team. So, honestly, like, what Dabo said in the presser, while I maybe don't love some of the things that he said being out there for everyone to break down, one of them being, if Clemson doesn't want me, I'll go win somewhere else, more or less. I like Spicy Dabo, because Spicy Dabo means spicy Clemson. Spicy Clemson, that's how talented they are, should yield good results. So what I said in our show is, like, I'm worried about Clemson, but I also think they'll be fine because of how talented they are and what they have in front of them.
Know what we know about Clemson the last 10 years, this question is a little bit different than phrasing it for most teams, but would you guess that Clemson does play in another national title game under Dabo Swinney or not?
I would guess yes. And I wouldn't guess it's this year, but I would guess within the next 5 years, Clemson's playing for a national championship under Dabo Swinney, yes.
All right. Let's talk about Notre Dame and Texas A&M. What was the biggest story from that game? I'll kind of give you three to choose from, big picture. That A&M won on the road and made that play late with Marcel Reed, that Notre Dame is 0-2, or was it the holding call that they didn't make on the last play that Texas A&M ran?
I understand the answer to all three. I'll say the first one. I'll go ahead and take A, Your Honor, for A&M winning on the road. The way they're built, too. Like, to me, Hunt, it felt very much like old A&M wouldn't have pulled that off. And I know A&M's had good moments before, but they've always felt very sugar high-ish, like, you get the win over LSU, and you're like, well, that was awesome, but are you going to be able to do that the rest of the way with the backup quarterback and the run. Like, to me, it felt very sustainable. Like, A&M, in my opinion, won that game because they, one, have a dynamic offense, which is a welcome sight if you're an Aggie fan. Two, I think it's the Mike Elko brand of ball starting to trend towards where they need it to be. And what I mean by that is, like, 4th and goal, games on the line. I think old A&M, that moment would have been too big. Also, I don't know if they would have been in that moment because they run back the kickoff. There's a holding penalty, and everyone's like, oh, my gosh, what's going on? Looking at Mike Elko on the sideline, looks like a very calm individual. Post-game, he's answering the questions about the last play, very calm. And I think this team is got the right predisposition about themselves, and I think that's all due to what Mike Elko brings, which, again, is that certain level of an expectation that's understood internally that is translating to playing winning football in the big moments. So I think that, to me, makes me feel excited as an A&M fan about what they can be here going forward, because they haven't had that same level of competitive composure under previous head coaches.
Was Notre Dame's playoff chances, are they done at 0-2?
They're not done, but everyone's saying this, so I'm not breaking news, but they gotta win out. They got to be convincing doing it, and they are rooting hard for USC to keep shooting up those rankings by the time they play them. So I think it will probably be enough chaos across college football to where if we're sitting there at the end of the year, I think a 10-2 Notre Dame backdoors their way in. But boy, it's going to be a discussion on Selection Sunday, which we're trying to avoid through these first 2 weeks of the season, is having there even be an argument on Selection Sunday for Notre Dame. But alas, it's where they find themselves, and I think if they win out, they'll be in. But it's not a fun place to be if you're an Irish fan.
I don't know if we learned a lot about Georgia going to Knoxville and winning a close game. That's what Kirby's program's done now for better than half a decade. But what'd you learn about Tennessee in that game?
I learned that Joey Aguilar, one, if we were wondering, Tennessee definitively won that quarterback trade, and that should be an answer.
Yeah.
Two, I think Tennessee looks like a playoff caliber team. And I know it's only week 3, but if you're going to go score 41 against the Kirby and Glenn Schumann defense, even if they're young, Joey Aguilar was kind of the question mark for all of us going into the year. The receiving core was kind of the question mark going into the year. Nobody was questioning when they're all healthy and in a good spot, can the defense be good enough? We were all wondering if we'd see like the 2022 version of that offense. And Joey Aguilar, even with the picks, like I think he is good enough to take them back to the playoff. I don't know about Bama right now. I don't think anybody knows about Bama right now. I think 10-2 is extremely achievable, and I feel a lot better about Tennessee, even in a loss, in that loss to Georgia, about them going forward here with what they showed on offense.
What do you think about Miami? 49-12 over South Florida. I don't know what we know about Boise State or Florida. They're two good wins, but Miami outclassed them start to finish.
Yeah, I trust Miami more than I think I ever have before. I think Miami's done a lot of things over the last couple of years. Last year, they're exciting with Cam Ward. A couple of years before, when Tyler Van Dyke's the quarterback and it's Brett Lashley calling the offense, they are interesting, but they've never really been dependable. This feels like a really dependable Miami team. The trenches, I think, are SEC Big Ten caliber. I think the quarterback in Carson Beck, everyone knows what he is talent-wise, but he's playing within that system with Shannon Dawson. Maybe some of it's the ACC that makes you feel better about them, but I really trust this Miami team to evolve the right way over the season and to, by how they're built, roster-wise, be able to hang with anybody on their schedule. I think Miami's going to be a playoff team. I think Miami's going to win the ACC right now. And I think the Hurricanes are, for the first time in a long time, dependable in year 4 under Cristobal. I don't think we'll see that breakdown like we saw from them a year ago under Syracuse and under the Georgia Tech game.
Michigan at Nebraska this week in Lincoln. Wolverines go in a 2.5-point favorite. Dylan Raiola's played great. We know Bryce Underwood around here. How do you feel about Matt Rule's team as a home dog?
Everything in my spirit wanted to pick Nebraska to win that game, Hunt, because I love Matt Rule, because I love what they've done on that offensive side and how they've got Dana Holgers. There's a lot of reasons for me to like Nebraska. The number that still makes me nervous is Nebraska is allowing 5 yards a carry. And with who they have on the other side, I know Sharon Moore's not on the sideline, but it's still that running game and that quarterback who can also run the football. That, to me, makes it too rich to pick Nebraska. But I do think we leave that game saying, okay, Nebraska's not there yet, but if Michigan is who we think they are, which is still a really talented roster, still a really tough roster, if nothing else, Nebraska's trending in the right direction. in year 3 under Matt Rule. So I'm taking Michigan. I think it's close, but I'm taking Michigan to win that one. And we see the progress of Nebraska overall in that roster.
I love this game. 2:30 ABC, Norman, Oklahoma, Jackson Arnold Bowl. The old quarterback of the Sooners now playing for Hugh Freeze at Auburn, up to Norman. Pair of 3-0 teams, pair of top 25 teams. Oklahoma's a 6.5-point favorite. What do you think?
I think Oklahoma wins. I think Oklahoma covers. I don't love the idea of Auburn having to throw the football against this defense when they haven't made a point to throw the football all that much. Like, if Auburn was going to get Cam Coleman rolling and get Eric Singleton rolling, this would kind of be the first time they've done it this year. And on the road against that defense with that guy coaching that side of the football and Brent Venables, doesn't feel like it's set up for a ton of success. Now, I say all that. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. There will be, I think, ample opportunity for there to be shots downfield for Jackson Arnold. It's just a matter of, can he handle that pressure that Oklahoma is going to bring, and can those receivers win consistently enough to go make it happen? But, like, even Michigan in their game where they threw for 142 yards, they had 3 explosive pass plays, the most notable being 44 yards downfield. So there's going to be a lot there for Auburn to take advantage of should they have the ability to do that. I just don't feel great betting on that when we haven't seen it just yet to this point in the college football season.
Every year we've got some teams we feel pretty good about in July that end up the bottom falling out. I know that Florida's probably a trendy pick for that, but are you worried about South Carolina after last week against Vanderbilt with the understanding about Sellers and the injury? Like, do we think they're teetering here?
I mean, both them and Texas, huh? Like, we did our SEC, how I'm processing the SEC today on the show, and put them into categories. My category for South Carolina and Texas is, like, I'm asking, is everything okay at home? Like, this isn't you. This isn't what we thought we were getting before the season. I thought, you know, if Sellers is healthy, and maybe it's a different story in that Vanderbilt game in the second half. But, like, it doesn't feel like it is matching up with what we saw before the year. And then for Texas, like, Texas with one loss already to Ohio State, they still got to play Georgia. They still got to play A&M. Like, they could be a team that misses the college football playoff altogether. And what a catastrophe that would be for Steve Sarkisian with all the expectations for them preseason. So both South Carolina and Texas, to me, I'm starting to grow more and more concerned about, and we'll get a lot of information on both of them here over the course of the next few weeks, especially with Texas going to the Swamp and playing what will be, I'm sure, a desperate, if nothing else, Florida team.
We'll talk LSU and Ole Miss next week after LSU handles its FCS business on Saturday. Enjoy the football this weekend. We'll catch up with you next week.
You're the man. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend.
You too. JD Pickell on 3 Sports, host of The Hard Count, wherever you find your podcast. Search The Hard Count, certainly on YouTube as well. Great college football insight, and we enjoy this conversation every single Wednesday here. Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. We'll come back, had a conversation with Jawan Johnson last night. Enjoyed it. I want to tell you kind of what I gleaned from that. We'll do it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Doesn't have to be a huge, massive, monstrous, invasive, expensive. Is that enough adjectives? Doesn't have to be all that when it comes to a renovation or a remodel. It can be something very simple. Tub to shower conversion. You don't use the tub. It either doesn't function, it's old, it's rusted, it doesn't look good, whatever the case may be. You take it out and you put in a glass walk-in shower. Changes the look, changes the functionality of your bathroom, adds some value to your home. And it can be done in a quick amount of time. I talked to David about this a couple of weeks ago, and every project's different, so I'm not promising exactly the amount of hours they'll need to take to handle yours, but you're looking at 3 to 5 days potentially on a tub-to-shower conversion, again, depending on the length and scope of the work. That's doable. And if you can pay for it up front, great. If you need some financing, they can do that as well. 0% up to 18 months, same as cash if you qualify. So check them out online at onebathandclosets.com, onebathandclosets.com.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run,
We have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Join us for Friday's AFR live from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. We'll have craft cocktails, someone's winning tickets to the game, and of course a fine premium cigar. Friday's AFR, presented by Sagamore Spirit.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spot. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Cubs beating down the door on that playoff spot. Just got to get a few more outs here. They'll be it. We like that. Maybe talk about it in an hour. To finish up the first hour, I want to talk about my general response to our conversation with Jawan Johnson last night. We never know who we're going to get as far as player interviews on Tuesday night. We get 4, 2 offense, 2 defense, and those are the guys you talk to. And last night, Jawan Johnson was one of the 4. And we talked to him about like the whole process of coming to LSU, moving to defense after being the most productive player in the history of Louisiana high school football on the offensive side, and then moving to running back, and then moving to quarterback, and then moving back to running back. And he said, the toughest thing was moving from safety to running back last year. If you'll remember, he was at safety behind Major Burns at the Star, and then they decided that they were going to move him to running back when Trey Holly was removed from the team for his legal issues, and you had John Emery tear his ACL. So they moved Jawan Johnson to running back. He caught a touchdown in his first game. And then in the spring, they moved him to quarterback. And he said that wasn't that hard. He had played quarterback before, and so he was never going to be the starting quarterback. You were just kind of easing in and doing something, taking snaps and running around a little bit like he did in high school. And then he moved over to running back, and he said that was the easiest thing to do, is to go back to running back. And one of the things that Frank Wilson told me 3 weeks ago, and that Jawan talked about last night, was that they like him on third downs because when he was with the quarterbacks, when he was with Joe Sloan, with Garrett Nussmeier, with Michael Van Buren, he was learning how to read blitzes and how to set protections. And when you have to set those protections as the quarterback, you've got to do that for all the linemen and the back. When you're the back, you just have to know the back's responsibility. So he already knows that. And we know he's dynamic with the ball in his hands. He's happy to catch the ball in space. And I think that's interesting that he got that knowledge and is being able to use it at running back. Because that's one of the things, pass protection for running backs is one of the toughest things when they get to college, because most of the really good high school running backs didn't pass protect in college, in high school. They just ran the ball for 1 billion yards. So he's got a leg up on that. And every answer that Jawan Johnson gave yesterday about all the moves and all the tough stuff and all the things that have come easier and where he is now, he always talked about how he's got a great group around him. He wants to do whatever it takes to win. He loves playing for LSU, all these things. And it's an era where, like, all the players have so much leverage, and oftentimes it is about where's the grass greener, where can I get more money, where can I do this to help me. And trust me, I'm not here to completely shut down the transfer portal. I'm not here to tell you that Jaden Daniels and Paul Skeens and Angel Reese and Baton Rouge was bad for a lot of people. Like, that's not the point of this. But I am going to sit here and tell you when something like this happens, and I do see this story where someone in this is a guy who in this position most would have transferred by now and looked for a little bit more money in a place to play where they had a full-time spot. Juwan's just like, hey, where can I help? What can I do to help us win? And that was a refreshing conversation that we had with Jawan Johnson last night. So my hope is that he's going to play a lot this weekend against Southeastern. When you watch him play and he's out there for LSU, you kind of consider, oh, I remember Hunt talked about him in that conversation, and like, that's a guy I want to pull for, because the vibes you get from Jawan and how selfless he's been are really cool, and that's somebody that's going to be easy to pull for in the purple and gold. So that'll do it for hour number 1 here. We're going to come back with Brad Hawpe, former Major Leaguer Tiger and now dad of Drake, who committed to LSU. We'll do that after SportsCenter next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Renaissance Homes and Pools. Built by Renaissance.com. Built by Renaissance.com. Get into the pool of your dreams and do it with the folks at Renaissance Homes and Pools. Joey Blanchard has been helping out dozens and dozens and dozens of people around the Baton Rouge area with their outdoor area of their dreams, customized to your situation. Pool, outdoor kitchen, whether you've got young kids or grandkids that you want to enjoy the pool, or whether you're somebody that just wants a cocktail pool to cool off in after work and enjoy something. Like, no matter what the case may be, they can put together a project that's designed for you, and Joey will be there every step of the way to make sure that it's done exactly the way that you want it done. From the design to the digging to the filling, the whole thing and the finishing, Joey Blanchard will be there with you. Give him a call at 225-252-7745. Check him out online, builtbyrenaissance.com. Builtbyrenaissance.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, We know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels will not practice earlier than Friday while recovering from an injured knee. Coach Dan Quinn said Daniels went through a rehab session and threw on the field today, but didn't take part in work with teammates. His status Sunday versus the Raiders remains uncertain. If Daniels is out, Marcus Mariota starts for Washington. Jets quarterback Justin Fields, recovering from a concussion, won't play against the Buccaneers this week. Tyrod Taylor gets the call in his place for Coach Aaron Glenn.
The fact that he's been in this league for a long time, there's no coverage, there's no pressure that he hasn't seen. So that's why I have confidence in him. And he's a very studious person, good athlete. Again, been around this league for a long time. There's no better player that you would want as your backup quarterback than him at this point in time.
The Bills will be down a pair of defensive starters tomorrow night against the Dolphins. Injured linebacker Matt Milano and defensive tackle Ed Oliver have been ruled out. The elbow injury to Chargers outside linebacker Khalil Mack is not season-ending. The expectation is that he'll likely return to the lineup later this fall.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Thursday. The Dolphins are staring at being 0-3 to start the season, so is it time for Dolphins fans to admit that Tua isn't the answer? It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from downtown Baton Rouge. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2, Wednesday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show. Half the work week in the rearview mirror, officially working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. My most updated SEC football power rankings coming your way in 30 minutes. We'll talk some Saints here in 15 minutes. Now, my pleasure to welcome to the show a man who, for 25 years around here, has been known as a national champion, a big league all-star, and a Tiger great. In a couple of years, he might just be known as Drake's dad. Brad Hawpe, LSU National Championship first baseman from back in 2000, whose son Drake committed to LSU over the weekend. Good enough to give us some time here on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Brad, thanks so much for the time. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure. So what are your emotions like as your son goes through his recruiting process and ultimately decides to go where Dad played?
My wife and I both went to LSU, and we're blessed that he made that decision. But we wanted it to be Drake's decision, right? We're very fortunate for his work ethic and everything that he's established as a baseball player and his passion for the game. And, you know, to be offered to play for LSU, who is obviously the powerhouse of college baseball, and he's been wearing purple and gold since he was born. But we wanted it to be his decision, and he thought long and hard on it and prayed about it. He was so excited to make that decision, and we were so proud of him.
That's awesome. Obviously, you and your wife having gone to LSU, that was my next question. You kind of answered it, but did he grow up coming to football games, going to some baseball games? I realized that you're playing professionally for the early part of his life, but was LSU a part of his life growing up?
He's always been a fan of the baseball program and us watching as many games as we can in college baseball. And the only football game he went to was when he was younger, when they played at Cowboy Stadium. We live in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Okay.
And so, you know, it's harder for us to get to football games. The football game against Florida was his first LSU tailgating football experience. I was warning him of the magnitude of it, but he finally got to experience it and just loved it.
That's awesome to hear. I'm curious, getting to go through it as the dad of a recruit and looking at the new box that, of course, you played in the old box, and what LSU baseball has become since you played your last game in 2000. Like, what was that like for you to come back to Baton Rouge and see what LSU baseball has kind of become?
Yeah, to separate myself from my son's deal was awesome because what we got to see, what he got to realize was, even though the magnitude of it is bigger than whenever I played there, it's still the same family feel, having so many former teammates and friends reaching out personally and in group texts of how they'll be there, and Drake can come stay with them anytime or have a dinner with them. They'd love to have him over. Me getting to go see Skip Bertman and spending some time with him at his house, and just getting to hug the man who helped me become a big leaguer. Make sure to tell him I love him again one more time. Just all the emotions of, being a former Tiger and just seeing it, it's all still there. And at a bigger level, Skip climbed the mountain for that program. I mean, he climbed the mountain. It's unbelievable, the speed at which he climbed that mountain too. It's really refreshing seeing new head coach Jay Johnson climbing another mountain. He's actually taking it to another level, which is just extremely impressive as a former Tiger player and fan.
Talking to Brad Hawpe, Tiger national champion in 2000, whose son Drake committed to LSU's baseball program over the weekend. We have been so impressed covering Jay Johnson and watching him create those rosters year to year and his tenacity on the recruiting trail. What can you tell us about watching Jay Johnson in action recruiting your son?
I was really surprised at how aggressive and hardworking and good he was at recruiting. Just you would think that, okay, we're LSU and we win the national champions and people are just going to come to us. There is zero of that attitude. They work. I don't think he slept that whole weekend, and I don't think he sleeps all weekend during the spring baseball season. It really is baseball and recruiting and development only for his life. I mean, I was thoroughly impressed at him and his staff and their knowledge and their passion to recruit kids. I'm glad my son picked that. And when I looked at my wife when we got home, I'm like, how does he not get every single kid he recruits? It's pretty incredible.
He's something in building those rosters, and he's accomplished a lot here in Baton Rouge in a short time. I'm going to let you brag on your kiddo here. Tell us about Drake's childhood, his development, and kind of what kind of ball player he is to this point in his progression.
He's a right-handed throwing, left-handed hitting outfielder. He still thinks he's a pitcher, but he's not going to pitch there. That's not for high school. You throw 90s, when you're 16 years old, easily for strike. But in high school, you're a good pitcher. But, he just closes or something and throws low to mid-90s maybe, tops, for his high school program. But his calling card is his dad. He's a big, strong kid. He's 6'4", 215, and works hard. I'm proud of him because he's a really, really boring kid. It is so boring. It's all baseball. It's all diet. It's all sleep. It's all weight room. It's all batting cage. I'm really fortunate for the relationship I have with my son because every night we have a big shop on our property, and it's air conditioned. We have a huge batting cage with the hit tracks, and all his friends want to come over every night. Basically, our place is the place to hang out, and it's either him with his buddies and me, or just me and him just sitting there turning on our favorite music, and just sitting and talking baseball and talking life, and going back in and taking a shower and going to bed, and the next night doing it all over again. It's been very fortunate for that, and it's helped him, and it's given us time to have father-son talks sometimes, away from everything else. But we're going to hit baseballs too. But I'm just proud of his work ethic, and he's not done. He's 16 years old, but he's better than I was, so I'm proud of him.
Well, if he's better than you were in purple and gold, LSU and Jay Johnson have really got some. I got to tell you this on a personal note, Brad. You really, really warmed my heart when you took Mark Pryor deep in Omaha, and then you really broke my heart. I'm sitting here watching the Cubs try to clinch a playoff spot right now as I'm talking to you when you hit that line drive back off Mark Pryor's arm just a few years later and knocked him onto the DL. So if you'd like to apologize for me for that, after I appreciate you hitting that home run in Omaha, you have the time to do that if you'd like.
Well, I'll tell you this. I haven't spoken with Mark Pryor in a long time, but I'm pretty sure I'm not high on his list. Because you may say the sad part, like I feel terrible breaking his arm. The worst part is Aramis Ramirez at third base made a diving play in foul territory to catch the ball. I didn't even get a hit out of it. So it was a lose-lose for both of us. I'd love to go back and him get out of the way and me have a base hit up the middle and it have no effect on him. No, but he's doing an awesome job. He's up there with the Dodgers with Dave Roberts, close friend of mine. He's just incredible coach and manager and human being for the Dodgers, and he's just part of an incredible staff that they have up there.
I did not even remember that Aramis caught that ball in foul territory and you didn't get a hit. I was too fixated on Pryor going out of the game. But I'm just kidding with you. Congratulations to you and your family and to Drake for his commitment. Thrilled down here in Baton Rouge that another Hawpe is on the way. And I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of you over the next few years as Drake comes down here to play some ball.
Absolutely. We'll be seeing you down there. I can't wait. My wife and I are excited. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thanks for welcoming him down there when he gets there.
With open arms, thanks. That's Brad Hawpe, former Tiger national champion, a Major League Baseball All-Star, now going to be Drake's dad here in Baton Rouge as his son headed down to play for LSU baseball here in a couple of years. Drake just 16, a junior in high school, but will be here in a couple of seasons. And look, he's a big kid, 6'4", left-handed hitter, and you know what the profile was for his dad back 25 years ago here in Baton Rouge. So I talked about this on yesterday's show just briefly. Jay Johnson loves left-handed hitters, and you face a lot of right-handed pitching in college, and left-handed hitters have a huge advantage on that. And power from the left side is a huge premium tool. And Drake's dad parlayed that into a big-time, big league career. We made an all-star team with the Rockies. And look, Drake profiles that way as well. So excited to get him down to Baton Rouge here in a couple of years. And really appreciate Brad for giving us a little bit of time here on this Wednesday. All right, we step aside. We'll come back. I saw an interesting piece up at Saints Wire about some moves that they would like to see the Saints make in taking veterans off the field and putting forward a youth movement. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com is that website. Get on by and see their showroom. No detail was spared. You walk in, it feels like a spa in there. They've got this gorgeous little rock spot there, and they've got a spot where you can sit near the service aisle. It's got incredible Wi-Fi. It's got snack stands, fabulous coffee maker. It's quiet. They've got partitioned areas if you do need to get some work done. And oh, by the way, they've got an unbelievable staff there at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Go by and see them. Just chat with them. You're not going to feel pressured. You're not going to feel upsold. You're not going to feel taken advantage of or confused. You're just going to feel helped. You're going to feel like a guest, not a customer. They've got an amazing line of vehicles. They're happy to show you around. And look, they've got incredible, incredible perks that come with those purchases. Talking about complimentary maintenance for 3 years, valet maintenance for 3 years. And you're going to be treated like family when you go over to Genesis of Baton Rouge. You probably haven't been over there at Airline at Pickell. It's pretty new, and not everybody's in the market for a vehicle every 2 or 3 years. But if it's time for you to upgrade your vehicle, just put Genesis on your list and go see what I'm talking about. You will understand the difference at Genesis of Baton Rouge. They're online at genesisofbatonrouge.com, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Join us for Friday's AFR live from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. We'll have craft cocktails, someone's winning tickets to the game, and of course a fine premium cigar. Friday's AFR, presented by Sagamore Spirit.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday's show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Contact my guy, Joey Blanchard. Fill in that contact info at builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. Latest update in my SEC football power rankings coming in 15 minutes. Beck, how are we feeling about the Commodores?
Feeling very good. And
feeling very good. 31-7. 31-7 was the final.
Hopefully they are where they deserve to be in the power rankings.
We'll just have to see about all of that. I spent more time this week on power rankings. I felt like there was more meat on the bone in terms of that more teams have played a meaningful game, and I felt like I needed to give it some thought. And sometimes I do the power rankings and I think they suck. I don't think these are bad. I think these are pretty good. So we'll get to those coming up in 15 minutes. Let's talk some Saints. I saw an interesting little write-up from the folks over at Saints Wire, part of the USA Today network, about some players and positions that they'd like to see the veterans take a back seat to some of the young talent. And this makes some sense. We all understand where the Saints are, and you'd like to see young talent get to the field. And most importantly, you'd like to see young talent thrive and start to build the foundation of that next great Saints team. There is also a balance here where you can't tell a bunch of veterans to go sit down. We're going to play the guys who have no skins on the wall, who are maybe worse than you and going to get your brains beat in while you sit on the bench and collect your checks. Like, there's a little bit of a decorum here in terms of fielding the best team that you can, with an understanding as an organization that there is a need to get some young players on the field. So some situations warrant more playing time for the youth, some maybe not. It starts at linebacker in this piece on Saints Wire. It says they need to sit Pete Werner at times and get Danny Stutzman, Jalen Ford, Isaiah Stallbird to the field. Pete Werner's in his 5th year. He started 58 games for the Saints. He's a pretty good player. But I would suggest he's a liability in coverage. When you get Pete Werner in space, he hasn't been great. And I do not subscribe to the thought of sit Pete Werner down and just get the young pups up there. I think that you can involve the young players here. Danny Stutzman has not played a defensive snap yet. I think that needs to change moving forward. If you want to wait 2 weeks and wait till all the Saints get home to do that, okay, playing a lesser team, I'm fine with that. I'm not in a rush here. They've played 2 games. But I think Danny Stutzman is a guy I'd like to see on the field. And I do believe that the Saints will get him to the field at some point. The first 2 weeks of the season is early. But I would like to see some of the younger players, namely Stutson, but you can include Jalen Ford in that, get some time for Pete Werner. I think that absolutely makes sense. You don't tell Pete Werner to just put his helmet up and sit down. But I like some of the potential in the linebacking core there. The next position up on this discussion is right guard. And at this point, this is not a secret. This is not a hot take. This is not a unique opinion. This is not a lot of statistical research. Cesar Ruiz has been atrocious for the Saints. He's been awful at right guard. He's regressing. This is not a guy who's been awful his entire career. He's never been what you thought he would be based on where his draft selection was, but he's been okay. He's been awful for the first 2 games. I mean, you can see some of the video on Twitter where the Niners were moving Joey Bosa inside just to get a piece of Ruiz, and he manhandled him a couple of times. They don't have a very obvious replacement for Ruiz. Ruiz's cap hit is just north of $6 million, and Dylan Radins and Torricelli Simpkins are options. Do I know that they're better? No, I don't. Would I like Ruiz to improve? I would. Is that likely? Probably not. Now, it's not like Dylan Radins is some spring chicken that they just drafted. He's been in the league a couple of years. He's played a little bit. I think if you move on from Ruiz at this point, then you're just giving up on him, which I'm probably not ready to do. You don't have to extend his contract or anything, but I don't know that you've got an obvious... I don't have as much hope for Radins or Torricelli Simpkins as I do for Danny Stutzman. Like, I'm not in that camp. And I'm also about creating the best environment possible for the quarterbacks. In this case, it's Spencer Rattler. So I'm not in a hurry to throw Torricelli Simpkins out there at right guard. It's probably not him. It's Radins once Penning comes back. And maybe that's better. And if you put that on tape or you rep that in practice and it looks better, then I'm for it. This to me is less a decision about the right guard spot in the future. It's more, how do we give Spencer Rattler the best chance to succeed, which in turn gives these Saints the best chance to succeed. I will listen to options outside of Cesar Ruiz. He's been the worst guard in the NFL to this point. But I'm not like begging to get one of these replacements in based on their contract status and age. I think just put the best guy out there. And it may be Radins. It could be. We'll see. At cornerback, you got Isaac Adam, who had a terrible game on Sunday. He was awful. He was trailing all game, just could not cover against Mac Jones in that passing attack. He was better in his first stint with the Saints. Like, he was better than he was on Sunday. So maybe that was just a bad game. But the replacement for Yadam could be Quincy Riley, who I do want to see. And there's always a possibility for rushing someone to the field. And I don't want to do that because the Saints, as I just mentioned, are not in a rush. They're not in a rush. But you got to find the time to give these young pups some playing time and understand they're going to take some lumps. Yadam's cheap. It's not like, you know, he's a guy that you've got to a long-term deal that you've got to improve and get reps to. And you can play him some, but I'd like to see Quincy Riley play because Quincy Riley is a guy that you've invested an early round pick in, and this goes back to the conversation we've had 96 times. You need the draft picks to hit. Need them to hit. And Quincy Riley is a guy that you heard a lot of good things about in camp, heard some good things about in the preseason, and I'd like to see him out there on the field. So, yeah, I'm for that. you need Alontae Taylor. You need Kool-Aid McKinstry. You're taking a look at your safeties with Sanker, and we'll see what happens with Howden. But Riley's in that mix. And through 2 games, opponents have successfully targeted Yadam on 9 of 10 throws for an average of 10 yards per catch. So he's not giving you anything through 2 games. I'd like to see Quincy Riley get out there, see if he can make some plays. I'm about that. So I think you're getting a little bit of Kendre Miller. That's good. I think your tackles are out there playing. I think that's good. You're going to get a long look at Trevor Penning now that he's coming back to the lineup, and that's good. Brazee is playing a lot of snaps. That's good. There's some on this roster that's young that is getting to the field. And then you've got this group that's kind of waiting in the wings that I don't know if it's the 3rd week of the season, 5th week of the season, 9th week of the season, but at some point, I think you're going to see these guys get to the field. And I'm not saying that because I think that's what they should do. I think you're seeing that the Saints have eyes on the future. When you trade for a player like they did on Saturday in Polk that's going to be out for the year, you have an eye on the future. You're not trading draft picks for a guy that can't play if you don't have an eye on the future. So I think that move in itself, coupled with they're not making big splashes in free agency, they're not kicking the can down the road with salary caps anymore, like they are embracing a reset, and part of that is getting young players to the field with the understanding that it might not work out. You might send a guy out there and he's overmatched. It happens. But you won't know until you send them out there. I'm all for getting Danny Stutzman out there. I'm okay with whatever guard you think is best. And Quincy Riley, absolutely. Get him to the football field. I want to see it, and I think there's upside. There is a way, and it's hard to say from here and now, there is a way that this team can go 3-14, and we can look up in mid-January and go, you know, there's some stuff that looks pretty good here. That can happen. I'm leaving the door open for it. I don't think it's blind homerism. I don't think it's unreasonable. But you're not going to feel good about it if you continue to play these veterans who aren't playing well. You don't let the young players get to the field, and then the veterans move on and your young players have no experience. The only way to create that optimism and to cultivate that young talent and to get them to be producing on the next great Saints team is to let them play. And I'm not telling you it has to happen this week in Seattle, and I'm certainly not telling you you need to throw all the pups into the deep end when you get to Orchard Park and see Josh Allen in a week and a half. Not a great spot to introduce a lot of guys to the NFL. But the home weekends against the Giants and against the Patriots, let's see some of these young guys. I'm ready. So hopefully that is the way that the organization feels as well. We're chugging along here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. We will step aside. When we come back, SEC football power rankings. Tigers moved. We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. I'm a guy who hits a lot of golf balls on the driving range, have in my past, but I really like to play the courses on the golf simulator. You hit the tee shots, you hit the iron shots, you hit the chips. You also do your putting. And I found it to be a lot of fun. And I found it to be fairly accurate. When I hit a shot, I can kind of feel what I think it's going to do, and it's oftentimes reflected on the simulator. Whether you want to go play Pebble Beach, Cypress Point, Bethpage Black, where the Ryder Cup is next week, you want to play St. Andrews, they've got all these courses wired into those simulators. You can go with your friends. They've got plenty of seating areas in those bays. They've got cold drinks, cold beer, wine. They've also got the TVs. You can watch the games or just hang out and just chop it up and hit some golf balls. I love hanging out at Swinging Golf Club. I did that with two coworkers, two of the guys from sales back on Friday, and it was a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something to do, want to do it inside while it's still blazing hot, want to involve some golf and maybe a beer or two with the television, Swing Easy Golf Club, great place to do it. They're on Segan. I always want to say Perkins. They're on Segan at Perkins in that shopping center. Go on by, walk in, and grab one of those bays. Book a tee time. Play one of those famous courses. Have some fun playing some golf. No matter your skill level, you can get it done at Swing Easy Golf Club. Check them out online at swingeasygcbr.com. Swingeasygcbr.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, They cradle and cool. They're crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, Ice Cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
So I'm watching the Cubs right now. I got the lead, bottom of the 8th inning. If they win, they clinch a playoff spot. And I just saw a shot, and I believe I know what I was looking at. Cubs are in Pittsburgh right now, day game. I believe it was all the Cubs employees that work in the facility there at Wrigley. They don't travel with the team, out in the outfield with beers, watching the game on the Jumbotron, getting ready to celebrate. Are they celebrating too early, Beck? Should we have the beers out in the outfield in the 8th inning?
No, it's way too early.
Way too early for that.
Way too early, Hunt.
What if I come back and suggest that if they lose, they still have like 12 opportunities to win one more game?
That's fine, but still, don't put the cart before the horse here. I mean, let's just win the game, and then you can do it.
I got to be honest. If I worked for the Cubs and my boss, whoever that was, said, "Hey, would you like to go out on the outfield at Wrigley and drink some beer and watch the game?" I'd probably take him up on that.
Well, yeah, of course you would. You'd be stupid not to.
Just a thought. I didn't have to think real hard about that one.
Yeah.
But the Cubs looking good. It's 8-4 in the bottom of the 8th, so hopefully they can get it done. They beat up Skeens last night.
Yeah, not a very good pitcher, Skeens guy.
It was
he just looked terrible.
His worst outing, his shortest outing of his career. The Cubs knocked him around a good bit there in the first inning. So I was asked whether we were at the LSU's up there at player availability, and the media guys that saw me watching were like, "Are you conflicted there?" And I was like, "No, got the wrong colors on." It's like I love the guy, national champion, great Tiger. I need him to lose tonight because I've got other obligations. So, all right, it's time. SEC football power rankings.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings. The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia stays at 1 after going to Knoxville and winning. Gunnar Stockton threw for 300 yards. They were gutty. They were tough. They were gritty. They were on the road. They made the plays they had to win. I didn't love Josh Heupel's play calling, but Georgia's just good. And they're in the number 1 spot until I really need to take them out of the number 1 spot.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
I moved OU up 2 spots. I know that they played Temple, and that doesn't mean very much at all. But they did beat Michigan the week before that. I just think that their defense is good. John Mateer leads second in college football in total offense, and they lead the SEC in total defense. I think it's a complete team right now. I think Oklahoma looks very, very good. I've got them at 2.
The LSU Tigers.
I moved LSU back a spot to 3. The offense is a concern. I'm not going to sugarcoat that at this point. I don't think it's a catastrophe. I don't think it has no chance of improving, and there could be an injury that they've got to get healed up at the quarterback spot. The defense is very good. I trust that defense. The offense is not as good, so I've got them down a spot to 3.
Texas A&M!
I moved the Aggies up to number 4. That's 2 spots. Marcel Reed threw for 360 yards at Notre Dame. That's a pretty big deal, I think. He's thrown 9 touchdowns, only 1 interception thus far. Their defense does not look good. I will give you that. They have given up too many points, too many yards. But I trust Mike Elko to do a little bit better with that, like I trust Garrett Nussmeier's LSU offense to get a little bit better. And Reed looks good to me. I've talked about this now for 3 weeks, so I'm not new to this train. I thought he looked good against the terrible teams they played. He looked very good against Notre Dame, so I move A&M up to number 4.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
This is a little bit knee-jerk, but I moved them up 5 spots. They were 10 last week. They're 5 this week. I have watched Ty Simpson now the last 2 weeks. And I know that I don't care about the 17 for 17 against whoever the heck they beat by 70 the week before. But he was zipping it in there against Wisconsin. And if he's pretty good, which it looked pretty good to me over the weekend, like Bama becomes a different team. They may have just gotten punched in the mouth by a good Florida State team in the opening weekend, and we know that Alabama's not a juggernaut anymore. I don't think it's outrageous to put them 5th in the league, and that's where I've got them.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
I'm a believer in Aguilar right now. I mean, he threw for a lot of yards. Yeah, he turned it over, but he threw for a lot of yards against Georgia. When you can do that against a Kirby Smart defense, I'm impressed. And we know that Josh Heupel, when he's got a good quarterback, can get things rolling a little bit offensively. He just hasn't gotten rolling offensively against Georgia. They did that over the weekend. I like Tennessee. I hated them in July. I talked very openly about it, but I like them now. I've got Tennessee up to number 6.
The Missouri Tigers.
I backed Missouri up 2 spots, not because Bo Pribula is not playing great, not because they played poorly over the weekend, but because other teams passed them. Alabama passed them, Tennessee passed them, Texas A&M passed them. Missouri still looks pretty good to me, but I think there are other teams that I trust more.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Wow, Beck, the 8th spot.
We've been here before.
We've been at 8th?
Oh,
There's no way we've been at 8.
I am pretty certain that after they beat Alabama, they were number 8.
They get up to number 8 here, moved up from 11 to 8. 31-7. Like, that's a butt-kicking defensively, but that's also 31 points on the road against what we thought was a pretty decent South Carolina defense. So, yeah, I'm impressed with what I've seen from Vanderbilt from that perspective. Move them up in the front half of the conference at 8.
The Texas Longhorns.
I moved them back 6 spots, and I don't think that's ridiculous. There's a chance Arch isn't any good. There's a chance he gets a lot better. There's a chance he's not any good. He's 55% completion. Against UTEP, he was 11 out of 25. He's thrown an interception in all 3 games. They got a lot of other good players, but if your quarterback's not good, you're not good. And I was giving Texas the benefit of the doubt. I've seen too much of Arch right now to give any more benefit of the doubt. They're moving down. They're at 9.
The Auburn Tigers.
Backed them up 2 spots as well. Got a real opportunity to go on the road to Norman and make a statement this weekend to kind of announce that Auburn's relevant again. They haven't been relevant in the Hugh Freeze era. Just have not been relevant. They can change that this weekend if they go to Oklahoma and win.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss in at 11. They gave up 23 points to Kentucky, gave up 35 to Arkansas. That's bad defense because I don't think those 2 teams are great. Arkansas's offense, it has weapons. I'll give them that. Petrino was top 10 in the country in total offense last year, and Taylor Green's number 1 in the country in total offense this year. But still, you shouldn't give up 35 points to them on your home field. So that moves Ole Miss down, even though both of their quarterbacks have got a little bit of talent. They went to the backup, still scored a ton on Arkansas.
The South Carolina Gamecocks
moved the Gamecocks back 5 spots from 7 to 12. They got the second lowest points per game in the SEC. That's to LSU, who's lowest. And they gave up 31 points to Vanderbilt. That's both sides of the ball that are impacted there. With Lenora Sellers out, they're going to lose again this weekend, I think. So that's trouble for Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks.
The Arkansas Razorbacks
moved the Hogs up 1 spot. Taylor Green, as I mentioned, leads college football in total offense by 23 yards per game. He's over John Mateer, who's second. Their defense is awful, though, and that's just hard for me to get past. There are units that are not playing very well, and there are units that are awful. I think Arkansas's defense is awful, so they're down at 13.
The Florida Gators
moved Florida back 1 spot. I do think Florida's defense is good. Their offense is awful right now. Now, Lagway's talented. I mean, you see that fade route he threw against LSU. He can make some throws, but he's also made 5 interceptions worth of mistakes on Saturday. So they're not good. They're not good. They're 14th.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
The Dogs stay at 15. Good win against Arizona State 2 weeks ago, and got to celebrate that with an FCS win over the weekend. We'll see what the future holds. I don't think it's going to be very bright, but they've won a couple games in a row. Good for State.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
And I think Kentucky's the worst team in the Southeastern Conference. I've got them down at number 16 at this point. Mark Stoops and company, I don't believe, will win a league game. But we'll see. That's it for your SEC football power rankings. Georgia 1, Oklahoma up to 2, LSU drops to 3, Texas A&M moves into the 4 spot. Big jump for Alabama there at 5. Tennessee jumps up to number 6 even after a loss. Missouri back to number 7. Vanderbilt up 3 spots to number 8. Texas with an Arch Manning-sized fall to number 9. Texas there. Auburn at 10. Ole Miss at 11. South Carolina at 12. Those are LSU's next 2 SEC opponents. Arkansas is 13th. They move up 1 spot. Florida moves back 1 spot to number 14. Mississippi State at 15. And Kentucky where they were at 16. How do we do?
I think it's pretty good. I have a few problems. I think the Alabama jump is a bit excessive to this point. I want to see
eyeball test for me.
Okay, yeah. So I think the discrepancy between the way I would power rank teams as opposed to you is that I would rather base it more off of the results.
The standings.
Yeah.
Well, you can go to the standings and catch that.
Not the standings. I mean the results and the teams that they played and beat. So that is that as opposed to the eyeball test, as you say.
Yep.
I think that is a more easier way to do a power ranking as opposed to having to use your judgment in terms of eyeball test. So that's why I would still have Missouri and Tennessee above Alabama. I think Tennessee even could compete with A&M at the 4 spot. I know they lost to Georgia. They should have won that game, as we talked about on Monday.
I'm scared of Marcel Reed.
Okay, I get that, but
I didn't think he was going to go there and throw for 360 yards.
That's true.
He can run.
He did only complete 50% of his passes. Now, a lot of them for like 70 or 80 yards.
Casey Concepcion, Craver at wide receiver. Those guys are running all over the place. They're out of control. I don't need a good defensive head coach to field a really good offense, and he might have.
Yeah, and then Texas, I still think, honestly, to this point, I don't see why Texas should be higher than Auburn or Ole Miss. I mean, Texas doesn't have a single
but they did go
win.
to the shoe and play straight up with them.
They did, but their offense looks really bad. I mean, obviously, everyone's talking about Arch, but just in general, their offense just does not look good. Obviously, Arch is the main component of that, but I don't know. And honestly, I could probably put Arkansas over South Carolina maybe because I think Arkansas is more
Here's
explosive.
a question for you. What is LSU's most difficult remaining game?
I'm guessing you want me to say Texas A&M because
I'm asking you.
I mean, no.
My power ranking suggests it's at Oklahoma.
Well, yes, that could be the case, but I'd probably go with A&M right now.
A&M at home as opposed to Oklahoma or Bama on the road.
I do worry about A&M with Marcel Reed.
This is going to be my cry until it's proven stupid. I'm going to trust that defense in that stadium probably all fall.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tall task for anybody to come in and deal with.
It's going to be the best offense they see at home, I think.
Yeah. I mean, right now you have nothing to go off of on South Carolina's offense.
I think the scary thing about A&M too is that while their defense has not played well, LSU's offense hasn't played well either. So
Correct.
it's going to be
If LSU doesn't play better than they had the first 3 weeks on offense, they're going to lose 3 or 4 games.
Yes,
You cannot expect your defense to hold Arkansas, Alabama, A&M, and Oklahoma all under 20 points.
Yeah.
It's just that's going to be hard to do.
It is. I'm still, Oklahoma has been the biggest surprise to me. I mean, I was wondering how John Mateer would play in the SEC, and so far, so good. I mean, they haven't really got into the meat of the SEC schedule yet.
Haven't played a league game yet, but they played a Michigan, and they played
Michigan
good on
and
both
played
sides.
well. So yeah,
Mateer, second in the country in total offense. So those are your SEC football power rankings here in week. I guess that's the 4th week we have done them.
It is.
We'll continue to keep it rolling. Close out a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Join us for Friday's AFR live from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. We'll have craft cocktails, someone's winning tickets to the game, and of course a fine premium cigar. Friday's AFR, presented by Sagamore Spirit.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Just saw a clip. Cubs, there's the locker room for the Cubs. It is full of, the screens are down, all the beer and champagne are on ice, so hopefully they don't give up 4 in the bottom of the 9th here, which is coming up.
Does it feel weird to, I mean, it's been what, 4 or 5 years since they made the playoffs?
They have not been able to celebrate clinching anything since 2017.
Yeah.
Because they missed in 18, and then in 19, they got into this weird deal where they didn't clinch the last day, so they had to play game 163 against the Brewers and lost, and they had to play the Rockies and lost, and so they were completely out in this double playoff thing. So
it just feels kind of weird to me to be celebrating a wild card spot. I mean, I get you haven't been in the playoffs in a long time, but still, it's like, all right, like
they play so many games.
They do.
It's like
they do.
You have a chance to celebrate something.
I get it.
So they will be in the playoffs if they can just get 3 outs here. I'm curious who they're going to send out to get 3 outs with a 4-run lead and an off day tomorrow. They don't have an off day. They don't want to go in Cincinnati.
Yeah, they've been throwing a bunch of the lower end guys. I mean, they just threw Pomerantz, but I don't know. We'll see.
We shall see. Let's handle our last order of business here with Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
True story. The Cubs are about to drink some beers in Pittsburgh. I've had a Yingling in Pittsburgh at PNC Park. They didn't have Flight at that point because it was 2011. Now they do. So if you're looking for a light version of Yingling, check out Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. I tell you every single day, just 95 calories. You're talking about 2.6 carbs. Got the slim cans or the gorgeous bottles. And if you're stopping to pick up some beers for the weekend, which is now coming up, we're on the back half of the week, pick up some Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
All righty, first one here. Cincinnati Bengals, they will not rule out Joe Burrow returning later in 2025. Coach Zach Taylor said at least the next 4 weeks he's absolutely out. That's the best I can give you. We know for sure that he will. It will be multiple months that he's out because of the injury. But Joe Burrow coming back to a team out of the playoffs, take it or leave it.
Here's the deal: you take it because it's going to happen. You leave it because it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
If there are 3 weeks left, and they are, 3 games left, so you've got call it 12 losses, and you're not going to make the playoffs. They'll still bring him in. They'll still bring him back because that's just what they do.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't if they can't make the playoffs and they've just been terrible with Browning at quarterback. I would just give up, but they won't do that. The second he's ready to play, assuming it is not week 18.
Right.
With 1 week left, they wouldn't put him out there. I think the minimum is 3 weeks that he would give him. I hope they don't. I hope he's back in time, and I hope Browning plays great and they got a chance to sneak into playoffs. But this feels like a lost season, which is a huge bummer with a 29-year-old star quarterback.
All right, next one here. The Colorado Buffaloes football team, they have not been good this year. They're going to be switching back to Caden Salter as their starting quarterback this week against Wyoming. The
Cowboys. They had switched in the first place.
Yeah, they switched and proceeded to lose to a Houston team that probably isn't very good either by 2 scores.
Coach Fritz.
Yeah, the wheels are falling off the Buffalo train with Prime. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. It's all relative. Yeah. What were they when he took over? 1-11?
Something like that.
Maybe 0-12, like whatever. So if he wins 8 games, that's awesome. And I think they've got a chance to do that. I'm not going to watch any of Colorado play football because I don't care about Colorado playing football. But I don't know anything about their team other than they don't have Travis Hunter and they don't have Shedeur. But I think they will. I think they'll be okay because I think he's accumulated some modicum of talent, and I think their league is mediocre. So I think they'll win some games.
All right, last one here. Florida assistant coach Jabbar Jaloot got suspended for 3 games and for his involvement in the altercation that seems to always happen when LSU plays Florida. The pregame, there's always something happens between the two teams. But Jalou got a 3-game ban for his role in it. Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
I wouldn't have been surprised if they fired him.
Yeah.
You can't slap a college player pregame. That is just an unbelievable lack of judgment by a mature coach who has been dealing with young people for 2 decades. I mean, I knew Jabbar Jalouk when he was the head coach at Carr back in 2010, 2011. And that's you're talking about 15 years ago. He's coached at Louisiana Tech and Texas Tech and LSU and Florida, and he's coached all over the place. He's been dealing with young people. You can't slap someone. Like, what on earth could a player have told? I'm assuming Jabbar Jalouk's in his upper 40s to 50s. What could a 20-year-old have said that you feel like you need to be in the middle of it and slapping somebody? That's just a remarkable lack of judgment.
Definitely
by a
is.
coach.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they fired him, but I don't. Maybe they won't.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
because the whole staff's getting fired.
Yeah, that's true.
So the question is there some sort of fire for cause breach of action where Florida can save a few $100,000? I have no idea what's on Jabbar Jalouk's contract. I'm assuming he makes
he was the
high
associate
six
head
figures.
coach, so probably decent.
Yeah, he's making six figures, probably maybe right at $1 million. So yeah, I mean, if there's something they can save money on, they can do that. Maybe they will, but that's just unthinkable that he would do that. But
I mean, literally, it seems like every time LSU plays Florida, there's a pregame scuffle. It's just
Hester and Flynn kind of say it's part of who Florida is. They're just a trash talking bunch. They would know far better than I would. But whatever happened with Urban Meyer in 2007, I don't know if that necessarily translates to present day, but they think it does. So there you go. That'll do it for our pause here. That'll do it for our Wednesday show. Well, the Cubs just made the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Ian Happ just caught the ball, and I had far more interest in the Cubs actually making the playoffs here in September than telling you what day of the week it was to round out the show. I'm in a good mood. I'm happy I'll get to watch Cubs postseason baseball here in a couple of weeks. I'm also happy because half the work week's in the rearview mirror. If you missed any of today's show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Search Hunt Palmer Show, Hunt on LSU, also Hunt on Saints. Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow. Should be a fun show. We'll have Luke Johnson on, Chris Blair as well. So looking forward to that. Have a great Wednesday. We're back tomorrow. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater.